og høre hvorfor. Ambassador Hassasian, welcome to the program and thank you for taking time to see us. Denmark's Prime Minister visits Israel to discuss a joint production of vaccines for some time in the future. And you're calling it a visit, the visit gross, you're calling it despicable. Now, that's not usually how diplomats phrase their words. That's not usually how they speak about political decisions taken by heads of state in the heads of government in the countries that they serve. It's a visit to explore opportunities for a joint production of vaccines to save lives. You're calling it gross and despicable. Why?
First of all, I think, you shouldn't take the words out of context. I said such a policy. I didn't mention her personally. I said such a policy coming from Denmark that has always preached human rights and democracy, goes to Israel to buy vaccines and to bring them over here. Now, we don't interfere in the internal affairs of Denmark. Denmark has bilateral relations with Israel, and we respect that. But when the occupier is denying vaccination to the Palestinians, in this context, I would criticize this government to go to Israel and buy vaccines, and by doing that, they are just trying to support what we call an apartheid state, because it doesn't make sense that Israel, an occupier under the Geneva Convention, under the international law, shoulders the responsibility of 5 million Palestinians to sit and accept the Prime Minister to go there to buy vaccines and to bring them over here. But now, if they want to have a joint venture...
But the main reason for her visit is to explore if it's possible to establish joint production of vaccines to save lives. It's not about arms production or anything that will hurt Palestinians.
We are not talking about... No. You have to make a distinction here. A distinction of going for a joint project and a distinction between joint project and going to buy vaccines and to bring them to Denmark. Those vaccines should be given to the Palestinians, my friend, and not to the Danish people. Now, she has the right to go and strike any kind of deal. We don't interfere in that. That's your prerogative as Danish government. But my criticism, and not only me, many members of your parliament, the opposition, many people in Palestine who are supporters of Denmark and its policy of human rights, have been really very disappointed with such a visit, because she made it clear that she's going to save Danish citizens by buying vaccines from Israel.
One of the main questions here is who is responsible for the vaccination of Palestinians? According to the Oslo Peace Accord, there seems to be no doubt that it's yours, that is the PAs, the Palestinian authorities. This is the exact wording of Article 17 of the Accords, paragraph 1 and 2. We'll have it up here in writing as well. Powers and responsibilities in the sphere of health in the West Bank and Gaza will be transferred to the Palestinian side, including the health insurance system. The Palestinian side shall continue to apply the present standards of vaccinations of Palestinians and shall improve them according to international accepted standards in the field, taking into account WHO recommendation. This leaves the PA responsible for vaccination of its own people, doesn't it?
Well, first of all, you have to make a clear distinction that the Palestinian Authority, yes, it assumes the responsibility of health, but it is not going to shoulder the responsibility of a pandemic, because first of all, we don't have the means, we don't have the resources. Israel will not allow us to bring the vaccine in. And so far, our people are dying every day, under the pretext that, oh, you should take care of yourself. No, we are not an independent state to take care of ourselves.
But you are taking care of yourself in some ways. I mean, if you go back to August, President Abbas came out, the head of the PA, came out and said, we secured an agreement with Russia. And this is what he said in that regard. He said, we look to our people benefiting from this vaccine, with the state of Palestine being one of the first countries to receive your attention in this regard. This was speaking to President Putin of Russia, especially since you have already provided us with assistance and medical equipment to deal with this critical pandemic. And back in December, the PA announced that now it had secured 4 million doses of vaccines from Russia, being able to then cover 70% of the Palestinian population. And on December 30th, now that's a little more than 2 months ago, the Palestinian health minister, said that you would receive within a couple of weeks 100,000 doses from Russia. Isn't the truth simply that the PA betted on Russia to secure the vaccination of the Palestinian people, and lost, and failed, and now blames Israel for this failure?
No. Don't mix apples with oranges, sir. Our relationship with Russia and what you have just said is something absolutely true. We are waiting for the vaccinations, and we are very glad that Putin is going to help. But this has nothing to do with the visit of the Prime Minister to buy from Israel, under the circumstances where Palestinians are not vaccinated yet, and to say that she is going to bring vaccines for Danish citizens. This has nothing to do with Palestinian agreement, with Sputnik vaccination, with Putin and what have you. So why do we mix these issues? No, we shouldn't mix these issues. Once we receive the vaccines, and once Russia puts pressure on Israel to let the vaccine come through, we have no problem.
But you're saying Israel is denying the Palestinians the vaccines.
Yes.
A symbolic shipment of 5,000
Not
was
5,000, 2,000.
5,000 was shipped back in January.
2,000.
And these days, at least according to
2,000.
All right.
All right.
At least according to the Israelis, another 100,000 Palestinians, people who are working in as nurses and doctors in the Palestinian areas.
Yet. This is all promises.
These days, as we speak, in the coming days, as well as tens of thousands of Palestinians working in Israel itself. So, I mean, that doesn't sound like the kind of apartheid or vaccination apartheid that you were talking about.
This is all speculations, my friend. We didn't see it on the ground. And, you know, the 100,000, whatever you're talking about, the workers inside Israel are not vaccinated. Okay? They are not vaccinated.
They're being vaccinated these days?
No, not yet. We haven't seen any. We don't have reports that they have been vaccinated. Or else I wouldn't make such a comment.
All right, let's listen to Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, speaking about the reason for Israel to vaccinate Palestinians as well. Try to listen to this.
אנחנו העברנו 5,000 חיסונים, לא מחוסנים, 5,000 חיסונים לרשות הפלסטינית בהמלצת המתפ"ש, אחרי שבררנו את זה גם עם גורמי משרד הבריאות. אנחנו, בניגוד למה שאומרים, אנחנו לא אי. אנחנו לא ניו זילנד ואנחנו לא אוסטרליה. אנחנו מחוברים עם הפלסטינים, הם עובדים פה, ולכן יש לנו אינטרס עליון, קודם כל באינטרס שלנו, שלא תהיה שם תחלואה גבוהה ושתהיה השתלטות.
Well, what the Israeli Prime Minister said here was that it's in the Israelis' own interest to have the Palestinians, their Palestinian neighbors, vaccinated as well. Isn't that true?
If it's in the interest of the Palestinians, why is he offering to sell Austria and Denmark the extra vaccines, while 5 million Palestinians did not receive any?
He hasn't made that offer, really.
No?
No?
No, they're going to buy it from him.
No, they're going to explore opportunities to produce vaccines together.
Production is something, and buying from them to bring it here is something else. Well, I'm making the distinction very clear. I'm not trying to be, biased against your government, but I'm just stating the facts. For the production with Israel, we have nothing to do with that. This is a prerogative for the Danish government. We don't interfere in your trade relations. But we interfere when you come and buy the vaccines from Israel, supporting this regime that is making clear distinctions between Palestinians under occupation and that of Israel. That's my pure statement.
To finally, and please try to make it short, who do you count on to secure the vaccination of the Palestinians in the West Bank and in Gaza?
I would plead for the entire world. We don't care from where we get the vaccine. We don't tie it to political positions. If Denmark is willing to give us the vaccination, hurrah for Denmark. And we hope that the Danish government and the people of Denmark and the parliament that are so sympathetic to the Palestinian to put pressure on your government not to deal with an apartheid state.
Ambassador Hassasian, thank you for coming.
You're welcome, sir. My pleasure.